Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So this one is basically a full body mobility stretching routine. It's about 20 minutes long. So basically it's something that I do when I'm on an off day or a rest day to like try and wake my body up to get moving and just feel a bit looser and ready for the day. Or you can actually do this before your training session, which will be quite beneficial to start loosening up the body. I take away quite a lot of things from just this mobility session to do before some of my workouts. So before I do squats, I'll do a lot of the hip flexor, legs, quads and hamstring mobility and stretches exercises. It's really good for just loosening up, starting to wake your body up and get ready for the day. So you can do this in the morning, you can do this before a session, you can do it at any point during the day, just to help you feel a bit better and wake the body up. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate it. Help the video and help the channel. And yeah, it does mean a lot, so if you could do that, that'd be great. We'll get into it and get you ready for the day. So yeah, thanks for watching the video. Follow this along, do it at the same time if you want to like have some instructions. So yeah, let's go. Hi everyone, so I'm going to do a voiceover throughout the video to help you understand what you're doing. So I'm going to start off with the neck. I'm going to do 3 rotations each side. Being careful to not do this too quickly, make sure that you're doing it slowly, breathing through the motion and not putting too much strain on your neck, just starting to loosen it up. So that's 3 each side. Starting to finish up the neck rotations, and we will move on to some shoulder shrugs. So starting with the shoulder shrugs, you're going to raise the shoulders upwards, bringing the traps towards the ears, rotate back and then down in a circular motion. So that's pulling the shoulders up to the ears, back, down in a circular motion. Once you have done 5 backwards rotations, you're going to do 5 forward rotations. So that's starting at the bottom, retracting the shoulders, lifting up towards the ears and pulling forward in that circular motion. That's 5 each side. No need to rush this, you just need to breathe through it and do it slowly, starting to just open up the shoulders. Then moving on to some shoulder cars, we're going to do 5 each side. You need to pay attention to my hand here. As I come up towards my head, I then rotate my arm and put my palm against the wall. So you will need to be against the wall on this one. And we're going to do it nice and slowly, and then you come back the other way. 5 each side, just go nice and slowly. Remember to keep breathing through it, and the rotation of the hand is important at the top. So I come up to my head, just in line, coming back, change the palm round, and back down. What you will find with this one is if you have slightly poorer mobility, you may need to come further away from the wall to allow your arm to actually rotate. You need to try and keep your torso as straight as possible. So as your mobility improves, you'll be able to get your knees closer to the wall to restrict the movement. By doing this, we're just making a shorter range of movement for the shoulder to actually move and the arm to actually move. So pulling away from it will give you those with slightly less mobility the ability to do it. So that's it, well done. Coming towards the end of this part of the mobility exercises, we're going to be moving on to some thoracic pulls, which I like to call them. So as we're finishing up this, getting the last one in, breathing through it nice and slowly. Now going to move on to thoracic pulls, 6 in total. So you're going to be on all fours, hands underneath the shoulders, knees bent. You're going to pull your thoracic with a deep breath in all the way up to the top, trying to aim to pull your back to the ceiling. You're going to breathe out nice and slowly and come all the way down, pushing your stomach into the floor. These are done really slowly, just breathe through it. Try and open up the chest and the back, and I'm going to really lift that diaphragm up when you breathe in, push it down when you breathe out. That's it, well done. So this is another exercise that I've added in. It's optional, you don't have to do this one. I don't really have a name for it, there is a name for it, but I just do this because I have quite tight front delts. And I feel like it really opens them up and actually helps me feel a little bit looser. I can feel it quite a lot, but I find this quite tricky to get into and it's not really very smooth. But this is another option to open up the shoulders if you want to. You can do this standing up on a wall. You could stand straight on the wall, put your palm against the wall, and then rotate your body round facing the other wall, if that makes sense. So that'll open it up as well, but this is another way of doing it. So the next exercise is something that I would do to try and open up my lats. I find this actually helps quite a bit. So you'll sit into your heels, start with your arms straight out in front. And as you can see, I've moved to the side slightly. Just gonna hold it there a little bit, come back to the middle, sink back down, get that stretch again. And then keep breathing, and then move to the other side. Trying to push into the heels, stretching it. I can feel it going through my lat when I do this. So I find that really helps open me up if I'm going to do things like front squats. So I can get the bar up into that nice rack position. So just in another angle here, so you can actually see what I'm doing, how I'm coming to the side. It just puts more stress on one side at a time, so you can really sit and sink into that stretch. I'm coming back to the middle, keep breathing through it, making sure I reset myself, and then moving to the other side before we move on to the next exercise. So the next one is Superman's, going to do 8 in total. It's important here to engage your core and try not to be wobbling, try not to have your hips moving. It's going to really switch on the core, help keep you nice and tight and get your body ready. So if you're about to do some squats and things like that, it will help engage your core and switch it on before you start doing it, so you don't loosen up and get in a poor position. So I do this before I do some training, just try and switch on and engage that core to prevent some injury. Well done. I'm going to finish up on the Supermans and move on to one of my favourite exercises to open up my hips. So you're going to sit in this position for 1 minute. I've got really tight hips, especially the left one, so I do this every time before I squat, before I do most things. It's something I find really beneficial, sitting into this for a minute. just helps open it up and wake up my body, start making me feel a bit looser. So I've actually done this before, where I've done some squats. I find it pinching on my hip. I then do this for a minute each side, and it really opens me up and helps me get into a better squat. So going back onto the other side, another minute hold, just showing you the different angles. So you need to try and push your hips forward so you can sink into it. If you struggle with this, you can try and stand up, doing it on a chair or going into just a lunge. So I just find it really helpful to open me up and get me into that deeper squat position without pain, without that pinch that you sometimes may get on your hips. So I find this really beneficial. Well done. Moving on to another great exercise to open up that hip. Going to do some deep squat rotations. We're going to do 5 each side. So notice how I actually engage my elbow into that leg. That's to stop it pulling across. That opens up your hip. Then you lift the other arm up and rotate around as much as possible. I find this really opens up my hip, especially with that left one that I find tight. I can actually feel it pulling. So it just really helps me feel loose again. Going to go into that squat position, going to rotate as much as possible, and you should feel that hip opening up. This is great to incorporate with your pre-squatting routine. Just really helps you also get in that squat position, as you can see in a squat. So yes, this is really good, and I'd advise anyone to try and put this into their routine. Excellent and well done. Now I'm going to move on to a Cossack Squat. I'm going to do 4 each side. Again, watching the placement of my hands, I'm engaging my elbow into my leg to try and open it up just that little bit more, sinking into it. You can actually rotate on the heel if you want to try and get deeper into this position. Again, it's just really good at opening you up. It's good dynamic exercise as well. So pre-exercise, getting the muscles ready and firing before you train. Well done, and moving on to the hamstrings. We're going to do a walkout. We're going to do 6. So you have to fold down at the top, coming down, then sinking into it, hips touching the floor, so open up your core. You're going to come back up and work your way back up, straight leg. So this will feel quite tight at the start until you loosen up a little bit. Folding down at the top, hands touching the floor, walking out, and then stretching out that core, starting to wake yourself up and loosen off and get the legs ready as well. I find these one quite tough myself with like tight hamstrings, so you may find as it goes on it will get easier. Well done. You're gonna start to finish this one off. Hopefully you felt a little bit easier, a little bit less tight as you've gone into these. It should hopefully open you up a bit more. And then we're going to go on to some ankle mobility to help you get into those squats, to help you prevent injury and just increase the range of motion to get a better form. So moving on to the ankle, I've actually given a few different demonstrations for this one. So this first one is, see, I'm putting weight through my heel, trying to bring that knee over the toe. This is going to help just put your ankle in different positions and open up that heel. You can lean into it, and back and forth, taking the tension on and off. Just like that, 5 each side. I can feel this squeezing at the bottom of my heel, so I just come off, loosen off the tension, and go to the other side. Putting weight through my knee to put the tension onto my onto my ankle. Sorry. Another way you can do it is come onto the knee if you can't get in that position. So as you can see, the range of motion is increased. Coming back, bringing the tension on and off. You can see me looking at the camera to try and see if you can actually see what I'm doing. Putting the tension through. Don't want to put too much through this because your knee is going over toe. But I'm just putting that little bit of weight into it. You can see the range of motion is increased from previous. Just demonstrating the other side, and the next one I'll show you is another progression in case you want to put some more weight through that heel to try and increase the stretch further. It's important to try and keep your heel on the ground, otherwise you'll take tension off. So what you can actually do is add a weight like I'm demonstrating. You can do this in the first position we showed you where the back leg isn't in a lunge, and that will increase it further. This is just making sure I've actually got my heel into the floor, and I can get a little bit more range of motion than the previous time through stretching it out. Just like that, back and forth, bringing the tension on and off. And that is the other side. And now we'll move into the last bit that we're doing in the mobility session. I'm just going to finish off with some breathing, laying on the floor, hands down by the side, knees raised. We're going to do some breathing exercises. We're going to do a 4-second inhale, a 4-second hold, and a 4-second exhale. Really want to try and engage the diaphragm here, push it up as much as you can, get all the air in through the nose and out through the mouth. It's going to help increase the oxygen going into your body. Just take this nice and slowly, and it should help you settle in and get a good frame of mind. So I'm actually going to leave the video there. I hope you've really enjoyed it and taken some things away from it. You can use some of the exercises in your training before you train to start prepping the body and getting ready, or you can just do this, help wake yourself up. Sometimes do it in the morning before training, after training, on days off. Anything you can will help. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you can like and subscribe, that'd be great. Any feedback would be good as well. And I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching.